the Locket, and the road. Millie had been working at Joe's diner for as long as she could remember. The diner was a relic from the past, a place that thrived on nostalgia and comfort food. Its neon sign, flickering slightly, illuminated the cold nights of Clementon, New Jersey. Every day was a routine, and every customer had their quirks. But there was a certain peace in the predictability, a kind of rhythm to life that Millie had grown to appreciate. One chilly Friday evening, as the sun set and the sky turned hues of orange and pink, the door swung open, and in walked a man who shattered the monotonous calm of the diner. The sound of leather boots against the checkered floor echoed through the space, and Millie looked up from behind the counter. He was tall, with a rugged appearance, wearing a leather jacket adorned with patches from different states and motorcycle clubs. His dark hair was tousled by the wind, and a pair of deep blue eyes scanned the room before settling on her. "Evening," he greeted, his voice a gravelly whisper of countless miles traveled. "Good evening," Millie replied, a hint of curiosity in her voice. "What can I get you?" "Coffee, please, and whatever you recommend from the menu," he said, taking a seat at the counter. Millie nodded, pouring him a cup of the diner's famous brew. "You got it. How about the meatloaf? It's a house specialty." "Sounds good," he said, taking a sip of his coffee. "Name's Jack, by the way." "Nice to meet you, Jack. I'm Millie," she replied, jotting down his order before handing it to the cook. There was a comfortable silence between them as Jack took in the diner's ambiance. The faint hum of the jukebox played an old love song, and the aroma of freshly baked pies filled the air. Millie couldn't help but sneak glances at Jack as she went about her work, intrigued by the mystery he seemed to carry with him. As the night went on, the diner slowly emptied, leaving just a few regulars and the new stranger. Millie found herself drawn to Jack, curious about the stories behind the patches on his jacket and the faraway look in his eyes. When she finally had a moment to herself, she walked over to where he sat. "So, Jack, what brings you to Clementon?" she asked, leaning against the counter. "Just passing through," he replied, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Been riding for a while now. Sometimes it's nice to stop and take in a place, even if just for a moment." Millie nodded, understanding the sentiment. "Ever get lonely on the road?" "Sometimes," Jack admitted. "But the freedom makes up for it. The open road, the wind in your face, the sense of adventure. It's addictive." "I can imagine," Millie said, her eyes meeting his. "Must be nice to have that kind of freedom. Not many people get to live like that." Jack studied her for a moment, sensing a longing in her words. "And what about you, Millie? Ever dream of getting out of here?" "Every day," she confessed with a wistful smile. "But life has a way of keeping you rooted, doesn't it?" "Maybe," Jack said thoughtfully. "But sometimes you have to make your own way." The connection between them was palpable, a magnetic pull that neither could deny. As the night deepened, they shared stories and laughter, finding solace in each other's company. Millie learned that Jack had been riding since he was a teenager, seeking the thrill of the unknown and the freedom of the open road. Jack discovered that Millie had a talent for writing, her dreams of becoming an author stifled by the responsibilities that kept her tied to the diner. When it was time for Jack to leave, he felt a pang of reluctance. "Thanks for the coffee and conversation, Millie. I'll be back around," he promised, leaving a generous tip on the counter. "I'll hold you to that," Millie said with a smile, watching as he walked out into the night. True to his word, Jack returned to the diner every few weeks. Each time, he brought with him a new story, a new patch on his jacket, and a new spark in Millie's life. They grew closer with each visit, the connection between them deepening with every shared laugh and whispered dream. One evening, as winter's chill began to thaw and the first signs of spring appeared, Jack walked into the diner with an unusual intensity in his eyes. Millie sensed something was different, and her heart raced with anticipation. "I've got something for you," Jack said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small, ornate locket. Found this in a little antique shop on the road. Thought you might like it." Millie's breath caught in her throat as she took the locket, her fingers tracing its delicate design. "It's beautiful, Jack. Thank you." "Open it," he urged, his voice soft. Millie carefully opened the locket, revealing a tiny piece of paper folded inside. She unfolded it, her eyes scanning the words written in Jack's familiar handwriting. "I want you to come with me," the note read. "The road is calling, and I can't imagine it without you." Tears welled in Millie's eyes as she looked up at Jack, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. "Are you serious?" she whispered. "Absolutely," Jack replied, his gaze unwavering. "Life's too short to let dreams pass you by. Come with me, Millie. Let's make our own adventure." The weight of the decision settled over her, but in that moment, Millie knew what she had to do. She had spent too long dreaming of a life beyond the diner, yearning for something more. And here it was, standing right in front of her, offering her a chance to break free. With a determined nod, Millie made her choice. "Yes, Jack. I'll go with you." The look of joy on Jack's face was all the confirmation she needed. In the days that followed, Millie made arrangements to leave the diner behind, saying goodbye to the life she had known for so long. Her co-workers and the regulars wished her well, their smiles bittersweet as they watched her prepare for a new chapter. On the morning of their departure, Jack's motorcycle roared to life outside the diner. Millie took one last look at the place that had been her home, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and anticipation. She climbed onto the back of the bike, wrapping her arms around Jack's waist. As they sped down the open road, the wind whipping through their hair, Millie felt a sense of exhilaration unlike anything she had ever experienced. The world stretched out before them, vast and full of possibilities, and with Jack by her side, she knew that whatever adventures awaited, they would face them together. The diner faded into the distance, but the memories and friendships would always remain. Millie and Jack embraced the freedom of the open road, creating new stories and forging a future together. Their love blossomed. Amidst the miles traveled, each new destination bringing them closer to the life they had always dreamed of. And so, the waitress and the biker rode into the sunset, their hearts intertwined and their spirits unbound. In the journey of love and adventure, they found the true meaning of freedom and happiness, carving a path uniquely their own.